Welcome to the Bridge to Joy. This is soul-led inspiration for the real world. I'm Sonia Davies, spiritual advisor, and I am so delighted to launch this brand new series with you here today. I'm going to tell you in this episode, this is very much the introductory episode, and I'm going to tell you a little bit about what you can expect from the Bridge to Joy, how it's different from stuff I've done before. And also, I'm going to give you a little bit of my background, my backstory, my history, my origins, how I've come to be here and doing the work that I do and sharing these fabulous messages with you. It's a powerful, powerful journey that I've been on. Now, let's talk first about the Bridge to Joy and what you can expect from being here. I am so excited. I've been building this for a while. I'm really looking forward to sharing this with you. So, the Bridge to Joy is where I'm going to be sharing with you my personal thoughts, feelings, journey, experiences with you. Is it going to be teaching? Well, there may be a bit of that. I am a bit of a natural teacher as well. That's part of what I'm here for. But actually, it's going to be about me just riffing and freestyling on subjects that are relevant, things that are relevant to you. And by the way, if you ever have a topic that you want me to answer, drop it in the comments below this. Let me know what subjects you want to hear about, because this is for your benefit. I'm not just doing this because I enjoy talking to camera. I mean, I'm quite happy talking to camera. And I love that I have the opportunity to do this with you, but this is for you. This is for you. I want to help you on your journey of personal growth, expansion, I don't like the word, but ascension, your connection to your spiritual self, and everything else that goes with that. That's what this is about. Now, I'm going to put a little caveat in here. I don't like the phrase thought leadership. Okay. And there's an irony in that, because that's exactly what this is. And yet I don't like the phrase thought leadership. And the reason for that is because I don't like guru status. I don't want you to listen to what I'm saying and go, oh, well, that's great. That's what I'm supposed to think. That's the opposite of what I want. This society we're in right now has become very polarized. There's absolute extremes of you think this or you think that. It's very black and white. Real life is not that. When I grew up, the art of debating was something I was taught at school. I was in a debating team. And it was a powerful thing where you presented reasonable, rational arguments for one case and then listened to the alternative reasoned, rational arguments and then went away and considered what your own opinion was. It's called critical thinking. That's what I'm here for. That's what the Bridge to Joy is really about. I want you to watch these and go, that's a really interesting perspective. And you might go, oh, I really get it. I really agree with it. And that's fine. I'm very happy for you to agree with me, by the way. But what I don't want you to do is put me on a pedestal and go, oh, Sonia says that, therefore that I need to readjust my thinking to think the way she does and to think the same as she does. I don't want you to do that. Please don't do that. There will be things that I share, things that I say that you don't agree with, and I love that. But what I want you to do is take the versions of things that I give, and these will be my personal opinions, and go, that's really interesting. And then run it through your own filter. Put it through your experience, your lens, your view of the world, and go, does that work for me? And in some cases, you'll go, actually, I hadn't thought of it that way. That's really interesting. Yeah, I'm gonna shift my thinking a bit to accommodate that perspective. Or you might go, okay, but that doesn't work for me because XYZ, and that's perfect. I don't want you to agree with me with everything that I do. And I certainly don't want you to take what I'm saying and go, that's how I should do it. You are a fabulous, unique individual. My part of my mission in life is to help you believe that. I already believe that. I already know that you are a fabulous, unique individual. Part of my mission in my work, in my world, is to activate you into believing that for yourself and then copying what I think is not you being your fabulous self. That's just you taking information and going, oh, okay, I'll put that other lens over my own life. I don't want that for you. I want you to be a critical thinker. I want you to be inspired by what I'm saying and be happy to disagree with it. I welcome your disagreement. I don't welcome disrespect. There are ways of disagreeing. Like I say, I was trained to be a part of a debating team. You always listen to the other perspective, you put it through your own filter, and you go, do I agree with it or don't I? You make a considered viewpoint based on what's real for you. That's what I want from this. That's why I don't like the term thought leadership, because that inspires, for me, that phrase in itself means leading other people in how they should think. And I'm not here for that. I do not want that. But what I do want you to do, I invite you to do, is consider what I share, take what resonates and leave what doesn't. But think about it. Feel into it. One of my core beliefs, the way I operate, it's the foundation framework that I run my business through, it's what I call the sacred success code. I fundamentally believe that as a human being, you are made up of a mind, a beautiful thinking, critical thinking mind, a physical body, a vessel that you have chosen to be here with, which has all kinds of experiences that you can't have if you're not incarnated into a human body. And it's a beautiful thing. And we've forgotten societally the language of how our bodies communicate with us. And that's where a lot of problems come in. But I'll talk about that another time. And you are a soul having a human experience. You have chosen this incarnation. You have chosen to be here at this time in these most momentous times. The chaotic transformation of our planet is happening right now, and you are part of it. And that is amazing. And part of this journey is in connecting you and reconnecting you with your soul self. Now, I also believe, now people talk about those in terms of mind, body, spirit, and that's great. And yes, that's what I'm talking about. And it's about getting those working as an holistic whole together. However, my sacred success code is also based on one other principle, which is I call strategy. And that's called keeping it real. You can have the most incredible psychological journey. You can go flying off with dragons in a multidimensional way and experience the wonders and oneness of the universe. And believe me, I do that fairly regularly. But you still having a human experience. And you've got to keep it real. It's got to work for you in your world, in your reality. Flying with dragons is great, and believe me, I love it. But there's still laundry that needs doing, and food that needs cooking, and shopping to be done, and bills to pay, and all of that humanness. We've got to keep it real. And your reality is different to my reality. That's the beauty of it, right? We are all unique individual human beings. I've already said that. And Let's celebrate that fact, but let's not try and say that one size fits all in this is how to do things. That's why I don't believe thinking is one size fits all. Critical thinking, that's what you're here for. And if you're not here for that, then this might not be for you, and that's okay. And I send you love anyway. There are other things I do. I channeled messages on my YouTube channel are still happening. You can take insights from those if you want. If this is not for you, then that's perfect. That's okay. There is no judgment here. But my reality, my 3D reality, as I sit in my home office right now, surrounded by plants. I've got chilies growing on the windowsill there, and I'm very excited about those. I love hot food. So growing chilies is great. I've got plants. I've got that one over there. And I mean, I'm surrounded by them. They're all around me. You can only see a few of them, but that's my reality. I live in a house with my husband, who's an artist, who, incidentally, I have to put a little shout out for my husband, who painted that picture behind me, which is also the image that is the thumbnail for this video. Brilliant. I love it. I'll tell you the story of that painting another time, but that is very much a personal and very unique creative piece that he's painted. So I live in my home with my husband, artist. Yeah, we both live and work here together. Yeah, we navigate that. We navigate that. We make it work. It's great. And we don't have kids. We don't have pets either. We live in the city centre. My reality is that. Your reality will be different. You might have 6 kids. You might be a single parent. You might have never married. You might have all sorts of other things going on. You might live in an intergenerational household where you're all mixed up together. All of those things can be true. You might live in a van off grid and still watching YouTube. Thank you. The point is, practical ways that work for me aren't going to work for you, because my reality is mine and yours is yours. And that's the foundation of everything that I'm about. That's when I say I want to celebrate your uniqueness, and it's got to be practical and it's got to be real. So in this series, in the Bridge to Joy, and I will have guests along at various points as well. I've got some really exciting people lined up already. And we'll be talking about all things spiritual. Don't get me wrong, my fundamental focus is as a spiritual advisor. This is going to be quite spiritual, but it's going to be very anchored in reality. It's going to be anchored in my reality, my journey, my lens. That's what I'm sharing with you, my personal views and opinions, in the hope that they inspire you to come up with your own and to look at things from a different perspective. I've already said that, but it's worth repeating. I want you to thrive and shine in a way that is uniquely fabulous for you. That's what I want. I am here as an activator. Part of my soul mission in this lifetime, part of the reason I'm here is to activate you, to enable you to reach your dreams and be the absolutely most incredible, limitless version of yourself that is possible. That's what I'm here to do. And everything I share with you, everything I do in my business, everything I do in my life, all the opinions that I've formed have come from my own first-hand experience. So even in my business, I have trained in a vast number of different things. I'm a therapeutic coach. That was the first bit that I did when I left the corporate world. And I'll tell you about that in a minute. I'm an Akashic master. I work a lot with the Akashic records, both personally and with business records. I use EFT tapping. I'm an advanced neurodivergence coach. That's something I don't talk about very often, but it's true. It means I'm trained in working with some of the more obscure neurodivergences out there. Oh, and by the way, hello, fellow neurodivergents. You're probably here because we call to our own, right? I've had experiences and trained in a number of things, but everything I've trained in is because I have gone through it myself first as a client and then experienced the benefit of that method, that modality, and then gone, I know the impact of that. I'm going to train in that. And then I bring it to my clients. I have not trained in anything that I haven't experienced first myself. And that's across the board. Let me tell you a bit about my background. So I grew up in a very loving family. Hello, if any of those are what any of you are watching. Very loving family. Um, Surrounded by a lot of love. When I look back, so much love around me on every angle. And a very influential figure in my life. And oh, that's interesting. I didn't plan to talk about her, but she wants to come in, so we'll do this. I spent the first about 8 years of my life with my great grandmother living with me. Well, she lived with me and my parents at the time. And she was a huge influence on my life. And when she passed away, she was 103, very nearly 104, only a month off, about 6 weeks off it. She was an incredible woman. She really inspired me. But since she left, she's been with me all the way. She's been a big inspiration to me in this lifetime and beyond. Deeply, deeply connected with her. And she always taught me to shine as the uniqueness, the unique person that I am. No, she had her own rules and societal conditioning that she fell into, and some of the lessons she tried to teach me, I blatantly ignored because I grew up in the 1970s and 80s and then into the 90s, and I was fiercely independent, but I got a lot of my independent spirit from her. She was a real spark, a real force of nature, and she still inspires me to this day. And there are many other people like that as well in my life. And eventually I conformed to society and I've always been spiritual, and I learnt that it wasn't okay to talk about it. Apart from with a few select people along the way. My dad, I would say, has been brilliant with that. He's always been open to me talking about it and even asked for advice, even now. What do your guides say about this? Thinking about this, what's your instinct? What's your feeling on this? So I've always connected with spirit. I've always been open to that. And I learned to fit in with the society around me. Now, that's been a big thing my whole life, not fitting in. I've never fitted in, ever. Even when I was really small, I always got on much better with the adults around me rather than the kids on my street I used to play with. And then school, I hated school. I'm going to put it out there. I hated school. I have zero good memories of school, certainly from the age of about 8 up to 16. That's another phase of my life we'll leave there. But I hated school. I managed to change school at 16. I went somewhere else to do my A levels. And I had fun there. Don't get me wrong. I had a lot of fun from 16 upwards. I had a lot of fun, but school, no. Never really made friends at school. Acquaintances, people I got on with temporarily, but I didn't fit in. I never fitted in, no matter how much I tried. I eventually came out of that, navigated later teenage years into the 20s and so on. Moved around a lot. I've moved around a lot in my life and eventually conformed, really, and fit into corporate jobs, the corporate world. Now, I had, and I can't remember the year because I will be honest with you, I have a really, my human brain does not connect with filing things in years. Dates don't resonate with me. I don't remember them. I disconnect with them. But I spent a number of years working in the corporate sector. I was a marketing coordinator for a large global construction company for a number of years. And then one day I woke up and I went, I can't do this anymore. I could not sit and make the reason I was doing things for the benefit of lining other people's pockets. That did not sit well with me as a value. And so I left and I went and joined the public sector and I worked for my local authority at that time. I was domestic violence coordinator for a while and then had various different jobs through in the public sector. And then I ended up where I am now. I'm in Bristol, UK now, working in Bristol for the local government, for local council, and ended up as part of the senior leadership team in adult social care. That was a tough job. Not going to lie, that was a really tough job. I enjoyed it up to a point. I enjoyed it. I worked with some great people. And it was hard because the system was very broken. Now, I'm not going to go down a rabbit hole of talking about how broken that system is, and I'm not going there with that. But we did work through the pandemic. That was not an easy time for anyone. And I remember coming out of that and thinking, no one talks about it anymore. It's like it was done and it didn't impact anyone. And we're working very closely with the NHS partners, voluntary sector partners, working in that field, trying to support people. And it was like, oh, well, the pandemic's over now, so we just get on with life and we forget that it happened. It's like, hang on, that changed everybody's life and no one's talking about it. And that didn't sit well with me. Now, also at the time, I was a carer for my mum who was unwell. She's passed away now, but she was unwell for a number of years. And so I was both in the system and a client of the system. Now, she didn't live in this area, but I navigated that system from both sides at the same time, and that was tough. That was tough. And eventually, I burnt out. November 2021, I collapsed. Not literally. In fact, I couldn't. Interesting. And I did an exercise. I realized I needed a break. I was very stressed. There was a lot had happened in work. There was a lot going on with my mum. There was a lot going on at home. There was just stuff from every single angle. And I woke up one morning, Monday, and in fact, it was a Sunday. And I sat there and I went, I just can't. I need some space. I need some time. And I did a bit of an exercise for myself, CBT exercise I'd learned previously, in fact. And I mapped out all the problems in my life, all the ways I was spending my time. And then I mapped out all the ways I wanted to spend my time. And I realized the complete imbalance between the two. And that I did not appear on my list at all of things that I spent time on myself. I just wasn't even on the list. And I thought, well, that's not right. Monday morning, I phoned my boss, and I have to say she was amazing. She was absolutely incredible. And I said, I need a week off. And she said, I think you need two. I was like, okay. So I took the week off and I was like, can I just take it as emergency leave? I need some time. She was like, yep. And during that 2 weeks, I stopped. And my husband, bless him, did a huge amount to help me and support me in that time. And he made me realize I couldn't go back. I could not go back. I was a mess. And it took me probably about 6 weeks to realize quite how unwell I was. I ended up being off work for 5 months. Didn't plan that when I phoned my boss that Monday morning. Neither of us were expecting that, but that's what happened. 5 months off work with burnout because I had been holding myself together for too long. Now, I want to say really clearly, this was not work-related stress. Work was a factor in that, don't get me wrong. Work was stressful, but it was only one factor amongst everything. It wasn't actually the job that was the problem. It was fundamentally that I was squeezing myself into a version of me that was about everyone else and not about me. I was trying to fit into what I believed were other people's expectations. I told myself for several years, even before the pandemic, I told myself that I knew I wanted to get out of that job, that line of work. I knew I wanted something different, but I didn't know what it was. That was part of the problem. I didn't know what I wanted to do. But I told myself that I couldn't. I wasn't allowed to. I would be letting people down if I threw away, and these are the words that I used. I threw away a big, powerful job like I had. I would be throwing it away. I would be jeopardizing my future, and not just my future, but my husband's future, because we have a house and bills and all of the rest of it. I told myself that. Didn't ask him. I just told myself that that wouldn't be fair on him. Therefore, I had to struggle through and keep going. And me quitting my job was not an option. Turns out I was wrong. Fortunately, I found out, but it took me breaking to get there. As I was in that process, when I was off work, I went through the usual GP stuff and referrals, and that didn't work. And to be honest, I've been around that hamster wheel so many times. And I look back and I see the cycles of burnout, collapsing, picking myself back up again. And I was fed up of that. And I thought, no, I need something different. I need to do something different. So I went and I invested into, I was lucky, I happened to already know someone who I really trusted already. And she was a therapeutic coach. And I thought, that's interesting. So I went and I looked at her stuff online. I didn't approach her at that point, and I went, oh, that's interesting. And she had a podcast, and I listened to that, and I was like, she's speaking to me. That's what I need. So eventually I reached out to her, plucked up my courage and went, hi, remember me? And I reached out to her, and we had a sort of a Zoom discovery call. So a 15, 20-minute call. And I came away from that going, I need to work with her. It was a lot of money, a lot of money. I'd never done anything like that before. I was lucky at the time I had access to that money. I was able to afford it, but I remember that moment. I went and I walked out. I came out of that call and I knew I needed to do this, but I couldn't quite. I was like, oh God, this is too scary. I can't do this. This would be selfish, I told myself. And I remember, and I went for a walk, and I sat by the river and I stared at the river and I watched it. And I knew in that moment, I have to do this. If I want anything to change, I have to do this. I have access to the cash. I'd had an inheritance from my grandmother who passed away the year before. And I was able to do it. And I thought, if I don't do this, I'm always going to be stuck. I'm never going to get off the hamster wheel. So I did it. And we had our first call, and there we go. And then my life changed. And it was about 3 sessions into that. We worked together for 6 months. 3 sessions into that I had a moment, and I was sitting right here It wasn't this chair, I've changed it since. But I was sitting right here at my desk as I am now, and I sat back in my chair and I was like, I want to do what you do. That was the moment everything changed. I had that epiphany and I could feel it in every fiber of me. It was like fireworks going off and angels singing and the universe applauding me because I went, that's what I want to be doing. I want to do what you do. I want to help people. And in my job, as it was at the time, adult social care, I'd lost the feeling that I was able to help because of how broken the system was. I didn't feel like I was able to make a difference anymore. And that's been a primary goal of mine my whole life. I want to make a difference. And I sat in that chair and I went, I want to do what you do. I want to make a difference to people's lives. So from there, I then retrained. She runs a coaching academy, therapeutic coaching academy. I retrained, I did that. I qualified as therapeutic coach. I left my job, set up my business and all of that. And in the process of doing that, because I'd healed so many of the psychological blocks that were stopping me and taking off the masks that stopped me going, actually, it's okay to look after me first. That's when my spiritual stuff started to come back out because I'd shut it down a few years ago after a bit of a, I had a couple of nasty incidents with that, a couple of psychic attacks and entity attachments and all sorts of things that made me go, oh no, shut it down. I've never been without a crystal ever, but for a while I was like, I need to step away from that spiritual world. And healing some of my psychological stuff allowed me to reconnect with it and reconnect with it in a way that has been so powerful to the point that now here I am, a qualified therapeutic coach. Yes, absolutely. And a trauma responsive practitioner as well. Trauma is a big theme in my work. We all carry trauma, and that's multidimensional trauma. That's psychological in this lifetime, but it's also generational and societal and past lifetime trauma as well. And galactic trauma. I'm going there with that one as well. We all carry it. And that's one of my specialities is trauma across multiple dimensions. I'm actually a real expert at clearing curses without any rebounds to anyone, or curses have stings in the tail when you take them out, but I actually happen to have a natural skill set at clearing those without the stings hitting anyone. But also trauma in this lifetime. Clearing out spells, curses, trauma, healing. That's part of my speciality. And I'm here to activate people so that they can be the multidimensional, brilliant people that they are. And I do that because that's been my journey. And I learn and grow every single day. I'm currently looking deeply into astrology. I am not an astrologer, by the way. I reference astrology a lot. If you've been around my world for a little while, you will know I do talk about astrology. I talk about the energies. Fundamentally, I'm an energy worker. I work with energy. And the astrology gives a bit of a map to some of the energies that are happening. How I use it, it's interesting. How I use it. I very much got my guides with me right now, prompting me in what to share in this episode. I always feel the energies first, and I feel them physically in my body, and I know there's something going on. And I look at the astrology, and that makes sense of it. It gives me the map that goes, oh, that's why I feel like that. For me, it's really powerful. Now, what I haven't done is gone diving deeply into becoming an astrologer. That may happen. That may happen, but that's a massive undertaking. And right now, I'm not in a place where I'm able to commit to doing that. I do study astrology for my own benefit, but I'm not offering that. But I reference it because it's so relevant, and so many things make sense to me. Human design, on the other hand, I've tried. Can't get on with it at all. Absolutely no. Does not work for me. Doesn't resonate, doesn't land. And I know a lot of people love it. That's okay. That's perfect. For me personally, human design just doesn't resonate at all. And I've tried. I've tried different teachers. I've tried different different ways of learning it. It doesn't, no. It's a bit like yoga. Can't get on with yoga at all. Again, I've tried different teachers. I've tried different versions of yoga. There's lots of different styles of yoga. I've tried a range of them. And it's like, I even did a 6-week beginner course once, signed up for it when I am determined I'm going to like yoga. And it's like, no, I just don't like it. I don't get on with it. Qigong, however, love it. Absolutely love it. That's the thing. Everything I do, and no, I'm never going to be a Qigong teacher, by the way. That's just purely personal. I do Qigong every morning, and that's part of my ritual. But so don't worry, I'm not going to come at you with, do some Qigong. You do you, okay? If you want to do yoga, go for it. If you want to use human design, brilliant, great. And I will meet you where you are with that. That's okay. I'm very comfortable with that. I don't need to know the modality that you use in order to be able to support you and help you with growth. What I'm here for is to activate people, to activate you, to think differently, and to connect with yourself on a deeper level. You will never hear me say, this is how you should do it. Whether that comes to how you run your business, how you run your life, how you run your spiritual side, how you deal with your psychological stuff, because we all have it, how you connect with your physical body. I'll never tell you how to do it. I might give you suggestions based on my own experience, but I'm not going to tell you what to do. I want to help you work out your way of doing it because you're unique. And I know I've said that earlier in this video as well, but it's true. It's such a fundamental part of who I am and what I'm here to do. I'm here to activate you. I'm here to help you. I want you to grow. I want you ultimately to become the incredible, multidimensional, limitless being that you are, having a fabulous human experience with a life that shines with joy. That's what I want. That's what I'm here for. That's my purpose. That's my mission. I want to make the world a happier place, one joyful person at a time. And you reach that joy through connecting your mind, your body, your spirit, and practical strategies that work in the real world. That's how it works. That's who I am. That's what I'm about. That's why we are on, I am guiding you on the bridge to joy. I want to inspire you in the real world. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you for joining me on this inaugural episode of the Bridge to Joy. I'm really, really excited to get started with this. I have a whole long list of topics that I'm going to be talking about. I'm going to be putting out an episode every week. It's going to be every Wednesday. So here we are launching on the 1st of July, 2026. We're going to be coming out every Wednesday. There's going to be a new topic every week. And there's going to be all sorts of things. And then guest experts popping in, interviews, conversations with them. Like I say, if there are topics you want to know about, drop me a message. Comment below this. Let me know. Has this inspired you in any way? Has my journey to joy and growth and accepting my multidimensionality inspired you? Let me know. Let me know in the comments. And I have to ask this because this platform needs it. If you have felt inspired at all by this, if you're curious about what happens next, please hit that subscribe button if you're not already subscribed to my channel. Please hit the like button as well. But it makes a huge difference in the way that this platform promotes this to other people who may not even know who I am yet, but it may just help them. I'm here to help the world. I want to change the world. I want to make the world a happier place, one joyful person at a time. And I do that by activating you in a way that is going to take you on your bridge to joy. Thank you so much for being here. I appreciate you. I love you. I am excited to go on this journey with you. I will be back again next Wednesday with another episode on the Bridge to Joy. Take care.